Hey, Determined Destiny family. This is Coach Kevin coming to you with another edition of the Determined Destiny family video series on creating emotionally healthy young men. I want to thank you all for tuning in, spending some time with me today. It is December 31st. We're getting ready to walk into a new year. And so we're excited here at the Determined Destiny family. I know you guys hopefully are excited with what's going on in your lives, with your families and friends, and what's coming up in this new year. We get a new opportunity to start fresh and do things in a different way that produces more for ourselves and for others, internally and externally. So I want to encourage you guys to subscribe to the YouTube channel at Determined Destiny, the Facebook at Determined Destiny, and obviously we want you to visit the website determineddestiny.org. Lots of good material there, lots of good material on the YouTube channel, and you can always email me at kevphillips90@gmail.com. Love to hear from you. Reach out to me, ask some questions. Let's dialogue a little bit and get you plugged into the Determined Destiny family. So, not going to take up much more time. Got a great video that I've been doing some work on, some research on, and I want to get into that because it's going to be helpful as we get ready to embark on 2020. I was asked a couple weeks ago to start sharing where the research is coming from. Somebody wanted to look more into it. So I kind of broke that down in a few different ways. So what I want to start with is giving you a scripture, Isaiah 43:16-19, and Proverbs 23:7 is some of the material that I use for this, and I'll share some other things with you as we go through this video. So if you want to take a look at those scriptures, they'll help guide this as well. Happy New Year to you. Let's jump into this. Creating emotionally healthy young men, video number 3 in this series. Titled this video, Living Sober. Living Sober. New Year's Day, New Year's Eve, everybody's talking about going out and having a great time, and I'm all for that, but we got to do it in such a way that our young men live sober lives. And I want to dig into that. Not just sober by being drunk and intoxicated, and that's not just what I'm talking about, drunk or intoxication from alcohol, but really anything that keeps you from thinking clearly. To be drunk is to be in an impaired state where one's physical and mental faculties are impaired. So what we have to be able to do is help our young men. If they're going to be emotionally healthy, they have to be able to live sober lives. And let's dig into that, what that means a little bit. This discussion is about living a sober life. It's not about living a life of perfection. Because living a sober life is not about being perfect. That's, while, we all strive for that, nobody's really going to ever obtain that until you pass away. So what we want to do is teach our young men to live sober. It causes you to be completely aware of what's going on around you. To live a life perfection without flaws is not realistic. But in order to be emotionally healthy, we have to be aware of what's going on around us and inside of us so that we can be our best self, living with joy, living with happiness each and every day. You have to be sober. You have to understand what's going on around you, and not just at the surface level, but at a deeper level. You have to understand what's going on inside of you at a deeper level so that you can make the best decisions moving forward, that our young men can make the best decisions moving forward. So I was watching this series on Netflix, and I thought it'd be entertaining. I thought it'd be helpful because it was about a family, and they were running a church, and their leadership of that church. I thought, okay, this should be pretty interesting. Man, was I wrong. I was completely wrong about that. I watched a couple of those episodes and I had to turn that thing off because nobody was happy in there. From the pastor to the first lady to the kids, the grandkids. I mean, nobody in those episodes had any kind of joy. Nobody had any kind of happiness in their life. I mean, there wasn't anything positive or motivating going on in those episodes. So I said, man, I got to turn this off because this is starting to affect my spirit. I mean, it's bringing me down and causing me to have some negative emotions going on inside of me. So part of me being sober is me being aware of what was going on inside of me. Now, I had to turn that thing off. So I encourage you to be really mindful about the things that our young men are taking in on a day-to-day basis, from the music to the TV to the video games. We have to allow them the opportunity to not take in that negativity because it's affecting them long term. We got to be sober about that and understand what's going on around us and what's going on inside of us, so that our daily activities, we realize the impact that those things have on us, and we want it to be positive, not negative. So, be aware of, be sober when it comes to what your young man is taking in. Okay. So what we have to come to realize is, in creating emotionally healthy young men, we have to find ways to allow them to be successful. We have to find ways to allow them to celebrate accomplishments or achievements so that they get that internal joy going on and that happiness on the inside of them. Happiness and joy, what I've learned is these things are earned, and they're earned through accomplishments. They're earned through putting in a lot of effort into something. And then that will produce that joy and that happiness on the inside. Let's talk about the difference in those two, joy and happiness. Happiness, we know, will come and go on a day-to-day basis, based on kind of what's going on around you. You either feel completely happy sometimes, let's say we're using a meter here, and we'll dig into this a little bit later too. You're using a meter from 0 to 100. Your happiness meter may sometimes be at 30, may sometimes be at 60, may sometimes be at 100. It just kind of depends on what's going on around you. But that joy never leaves you, should never leave you. It should take a seriously catastrophic event for that joy to be taken away from our kids, our young men. So we got to have that kind of conversation with them too. Help them to understand, if you're going to be emotionally healthy, what we're really looking at is some emotions that are around joy and happiness and the difference between those two. I did a workshop a few years back. It was called He's Intelligent, Creative, Black, and Angry. And what I learned from that workshop is the teacher said that our young men, they just did not have joy on the inside. They just were not happy from the time they walked in the door. And what that caused me to realize is, and in thinking about this particular video series, is that we have to do some work at the ground level so that when they're out in society, that joy and that happiness can be seen by others. And the way that that's going to happen is by us allowing them to experience some success, some accomplishments, and some celebrations as they are progressing towards certain goals. So progress towards life's goals brings happiness and joy. Now, what that led me to believe and understand and realize is that we've got to set some goals. I got a video for that. If you haven't watched the video on goal setting, I want to encourage you to go back and check out that video. Let's do that. Set some goals. And then as your young man is accomplishing those goals, let's celebrate that. Let's high five him. Let's give stickers. Let's give money. Let's take the dinner. Whatever it is he sees as a reward, let's be sure to celebrate those things so that we begin to create that joy and that happiness on the inside that's there more regularly. Okay, so goal setting is a very important part of creating emotionally healthy young men. What that also tells me, though, is that we're in control of being sober, knowing what's going on around us and inside of us. We're in control of having that joy. We're in control of having that happiness. So really, overall, we're in control of our emotional health. And that's what we got to help our young men understand and realize, that what's going on in the inside of them, they're in complete control of that emotional, healthy state of being. I know there's a lot of things going on the outside that affect their thoughts and their behaviors and their actions. And what we're trying to do is teach them how to manage those thoughts, behaviors, and actions so that we get some long-term joy, happiness, overall emotional health that's positive. I want to give you a couple of action steps here. First thing I want to encourage you to do, a lot of people do this going into the new year. I believe in it. I have one for myself. I have one for my kids. I help them create their own. We create vision boards. I want to encourage you to create a vision board with at least 4 goals on it, okay? And then on that vision board with those goals, either on it or separate, create a happiness meter, a scale that is basically from 0 to 100. And if you get really creative, you could put one of those little spinny wheels in there, and that thing when you're having conversations with your young man about his happiness level for that day, you can use that meter to start that conversation and tell him, how was school today? How was practice today? How was work today? On your happiness meter, show me about where you are, what you felt like about that experience. And then this will open the door for those conversations to be had. So I want to encourage you, create that vision board with at least 4 goals. Create that happiness meter, 0 to 100. And if you don't want to use a spinning wheel, just put the numbers in there. Just like a speedometer on the car, you just put those numbers in there in the increments of 10. And this will allow you to have that open conversation with your young man about where he is. Conversation is critical. In my book, 10 Things Your Son Needs to Know to Be Successful. You can get that on Amazon. What I talk about there is we've got to teach our young men how to express themselves with words. And this ties into that. This is a conversation piece where we got to teach them to talk to us about what's going on the inside so that we can help them work through those problems. Okay, action item number 2, have your young man write thank you cards to at least 4 people that have helped him in 2019. This is going to be huge because it's a gratitude effort. What we got to do in order to create emotionally healthy young men, we got to teach them to be gracious and show gratitude towards others and be thankful for the things that are going on, the positive things that are going on in their lives. We got to teach them to focus on those things because you get more of what you focus on. If you focus on the positive, you get more positive. So have them write some thank you cards to at least 4 people that have had a positive impact in his life in 2019 that's helped him in some kind of way, whether it's a teacher, a coach, a principal, another relative, a pastor, whoever it may be. Have him write those thank you cards and have him deliver those thank you cards to those people if possible. And you can start this as early as 8 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old, all the way up to 18, 19, 20-year-olds. We got to get in the habit of showing gratitude to those that have helped us in some kind of way. Third action item is give away some money. Over the next 30 days, I want to encourage you to give away some money and help your young man give away some money. Whether he has his own money or not, let's find a way to put some money in his hand and have him give that to somebody. It could be strangers. It could be family members in need. I know most communities got homeless people on the street. And basically what this is doing is teaching them to be unselfish. We get rid of that selfishness within our young men. We are increasing their emotional healthiness because it's hard to be fractured and broken and always just thinking about me if I have to intentionally give something to somebody else that I know is going to be helpful to them. So that's action item number 3. Give away some money over the next 30 days. This will reduce his selfishness, and we have to teach our young men that it's important to do for others. Okay? I'm Coach Kevin. We're part of this Determined Destiny mission to change the lives of young men in a positive way. I'm committed to it. I hope that you're committed to it. You can find us on at determineddestiny.org. Find us on YouTube. The YouTube channel is Determined Destiny. Please subscribe. Encourage some family members, some friends to subscribe. It only encourages me and my team to continue to do this and put more effort into it, because we know we're making an impact. And that's all we're here to do, make an impact on the lives of our young men each and every day. Hope you guys have a great, great new year, celebrating the new year tonight. And then going into 2020, you have those goals set. You've got some action items that's going to help you accomplish those goals. We're going to be here. I've got probably 2 more videos in the Creating Emotionally Healthy Young Men series, and then we'll jump over to something else. But I hope you're getting a lot out of this. Shoot me an email or shoot me a response and let me know that this is meaningful and it's helping, and really appreciate your support. Have a great 2020. Walking into 2020, I pray strong emotionally healthy young men. I pray strong living for our young men. I pray prosperity over their lives, and wish you all the best. Thank you. Talk to you soon. Happy New Year.